I'm going to have to echo I can't believe it's only been 10 years. I was a state senator in 2015 when this institute was started. And I also cannot overstate the importance that this institute has played in shaping public policy in the state of Utah. And it's not just about the data, although the data are really good. The data is important, very useful. But more than just learning about demographics and economy, environment, and all of these things that the Gardner Institute measures. One thing that the Gardner Institute does, besides showing us where we are and offering some policy solutions to where we maybe want to go, one thing it does is show us our values. Our values as a state. Because you can tell a lot about a person or an institution or a state by what they pay attention to. And so I want to personally thank the Gardner Institute, University of Utah, for helping us see what it is as a state that we need to be paying attention to, where we need to be putting our focus, illuminating the path ahead, showing us not only where we've been, where we are, but where we want to go, and more importantly, who we want to be as Utahns. Last week, I was in Germany. I went to Germany, and Utah's unique. We're one of 3 states that doesn't have a Secretary of State. We just have a lieutenant governor. It's Utah, Alaska, and Hawaii, and there is a reason, and it's a pretty good reason. I won't get into it tonight, but most states have a Secretary of State and a lieutenant governor. Utah just has a lieutenant governor. So I play both roles. I fill both roles. So I was in Germany last week with a group of 11 other secretaries of state from around the country, bipartisan group. And we spent the week visiting with members of the German parliament. The first half of the week was spent in Berlin. And we visited with ministers, foreign minister, minister of the interior, all sorts of people, their chamber of commerce. And there wasn't a single meeting I was in where they didn't talk about Charlie Kirk. They didn't talk about Utah. There wasn't a meeting I was in where they didn't talk about our governor in Germany. And it made me appreciate even more that what happens in Utah doesn't just matter to Utahns. It doesn't just matter to Americans. It matters to the world. The world is watching. And every decision, every action, every word we speak needs to reflect that mantle that we have. And now, as Dr. Brooks pointed out, we really have. I've never been more proud of my governor than I was 2 weeks ago in the way he handled this tragedy, because tragedy does bring out the true individual. And we have a choice. We can respond in bitterness and in vengeance. We can respond in despair. Or we can choose to respond in love, in hope. We can choose to respond in courage. And I think that what we did over the past 2 weeks as a state, the governor pointed this out at his press conference, instead of violence in the streets in response to a terrible, terrible tragedy, there were vigils. People lit candles. People prayed. I saw more states than I can recount, the young Republicans and the young Democrats issuing joint statements, condemning political violence, calling on the best within each of us to love our enemies, to love those who think differently than we do, to embrace debate and disagreement in a positive way. And saying I've never been more proud of our governor is something, because I'm really proud of that guy. It's been the honor of a lifetime to serve with him in this role. But I am so proud of him, of our state, of the law enforcement, of the universities, of the people of this state who stood together, locked arms, condemned the violence, and even more importantly, looked inside. Because we can't change others, we can only change ourselves. And that introspection, that personal accounting is a really important thing to do. And I think that a lot of people did that. I have a daughter who did that. A daughter who had to look at her own opinions about other people, her own assumptions about other people, and think, you know what? Maybe I'm part of the problem. I've had to think that about myself. So moving forward, I hope that we can remember that the challenging times really did bring out the best in us as a state, but it's just the beginning. And it's not the big things now that are going to be hard, it's the small things. It's remembering day to day to love those with whom we disagree, to give grace, to assume the best. And like Dr. Brooks, I'm preaching to myself, not to you. I'm preaching to myself because it is hard, especially in politics. But we have so much to offer as a state. And the Gardner Institute has so much yet to give and to offer all of us. The two are interconnected in a way that I think, I can't imagine being a legislator or being a member of an elected official in Utah without the influence of the Gardner Institute. Natalie is an incredibly good friend. She has been someone that I've been able to call on in my time of need. Last year was a terrible year for anyone who runs elections. Not good fun to do that these days, but a great honor. And Natalie was really helpful during a difficult time for me last year, and I appreciate that. And I just want to say in closing, what an honor and privilege it is to be a part of the state, to be part of the community of Utah, to be someone in a position to benefit from the good people around me, and to know that our state is a light. I did read, Dr. Brooks, I did read that report, the 10-year report. And if you haven't, you really should. It's fantastic. But that line in there, that the Gardner Institute brings light, not heat, was very illuminating to me. And I look forward to the next years of illumination from the Gardner Institute. And I'm just so grateful and honored to be associated with you and with all of you here in this room and in this state. And with that, I would like to turn the time over to Director Natalie Gardner.